is going to cover some portions of this presentation. For those of you who were in our last discussion, we talked about how Google works with your website in the greater realm, how it engages with your website content from the inside and from without. And then the specifics of this are going to be a little bit more on how localization plays into Google business and Google in the greater lexicon of how SEO works. So we're going to be looking at how websites interact with folks who are visiting their pages from a localization piece. Like when somebody searches for Bellingham plus business idea or plus category, or Google identifies that the user who's searching for the service or the product they're looking for are in an IP address that is within the Whatcom County area. It's a very, very, very big piece of how Google works these days. There's a 350-part algorithm for Google that determines what shows up most prominently when somebody inputs a search. And some of these more dramatic factors of that algorithm are determined by whether or not the Google identifies that the person is from within a locale. So what we're looking at here is Google business profiles that used to be called Google Wave, Google Plus Business, Google Plus Maps. They've changed the name a number of times. What it is now known as is Google Business Profiles, and it is the component that interacts with maps and localization and how you show up when somebody interacts with a search where there's a pin in the Google result, like where it can be identified that you are within a localized search. So we're going to look at what is a Google Business Profile, how you get seen on there, how that works from a localization standpoint, and what types of things we can do to interact with the local realm to make sure that you're showing up prominently when people are searching for services or categorical information that are within your realm of control. Be to the next slide. So about Intellitonic, we're an agency based here in Bellingham. My background was actually a national sales director at Chicago Tribune, LA Times, and Miami Sentinel. I worked in the publishing world for about 10 years before I founded this company. But we've brought back to our home here in Whatcom County acumen specific to SEO and paid search and general digital presence. So we're kind of a national organization that has come back to Bellingham, and we try to bring our skill set back here for folks and help enhance your overall engagement in the local realm. One of our identifiers that we do is we try to work with conversions and prove concept, and we try not just to find you traffic, but find folks proof of concept. It's not just traffic. We want to make sales for our overall vendors. There are two of us here on the call today. One of them actually had a fever, so she wasn't able to make it, Habiba, in the middle there of the screen. But myself and Ida Cardona are here. I'm the founder of Intellitonic. I manage our SEO team and our overall business development. And Ida is very, very instrumental in our nonprofit sector and some of our paid search efforts. I'll let them do their own identification when they get the opportunity to do that. But we're a team of 15 here within Whatcom County. We work in your backyard. We work with national clients and international, but we do have about 30% of our clients here in the Whatcom area. So what is a Google Business Profile? Our focus today is on the localization piece. What can we do in Google to identify and show up when users are within geo proximity to our businesses? That's going to be the focus of this presentation and what we're going to be discussing. It has changed a lot in the last year or two, and explicitly Google has started showing Google Business Profiles 10% more every year over the last 3 to 4 years. So previously, you might search Bellingham Pizza, and you might get a Domino's result, or you might get a Little Caesars result. But the last year and the last 2 or 3 years, Google is deliberately trying to show more reasonable localized results that are intentful for the user who is in their realm, and that are showing up non-national chains much more prominently than before. So there's been a big move to show more reasonable localized results that are convertible to the end user, rather than nationalized results, which had previously been displayed. 10% of search traffic has changed in the last decade as well, where somebody might have searched Bellingham Pizza 3 years ago and they would just get a Little Caesars web page. And now they're getting a Google Maps listing instead of any of the 3 to 5 restaurants that are going to be prominent for pizza categorical information. So they are changing their lexicon to be more localized and more search intentful. It's very interesting for us as SEOs. We're starting to see a lot of our work take effect more prominently than what would have been before. Before, we were up against national competitors all the time, and now we can actually compete a lot more prominently than we would have been able to do in the past. Hit the next slide.
Just one quick thing to note, that in order to qualify for a Google Business Profile listing, the business does need at any point in the user journey to create or to have in-person contact with customers during its stated hours. So online only businesses aren't eligible, though if you have like open office hours for contact information, things like that, we'll talk about some big frequently asked questions surrounding this later in the presentation. I'll send it back to you, Alex.
Yeah, no problem. So I want to clarify here. With our work, when we take on an account, it's important for us to identify to the search engine what the context is of the website, what we're trying to do at a categorical level, but also at a local service level. We have to imply the neighborhood that a brand is working within. We have to imply the amount of time it might take for somebody to obtain one of our services or purchase a product from us. And we do this by nuanced levels of articulation within the Google Business Profile. We only have like small amounts of area that we're allowed to work within the Google Business Profile. And that's basically like the category, the business description, the frequently asked questions, and anything that you would perceive as like a templated portion of what we're allowed to work within the confines of Google for. So we have to do a lot in a small amount of area within a Google Business Profile to imply to the user how we can help them find our business. So we do this by being very intentful when we write content for the profile. We do it by making sure that our category, our hours of operation, and all of these basic things are very distinctly filled out that we can imply to Google and the search engine what we wish to rank for. Here's the next one.
Okay, so now that we've gone through the kind of overview of what Google Business Profiles is, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty, kind of the step-by-step of, first and foremost, how to claim your Google Business Profile. So here are some step-by-step instructions. First question that we want to ask ourselves is my business Google profile already claimed? So the way that we can discover this is just by searching our business name, maybe add a local identifier like Bellingham into the search bar. And usually on the right side, you'll see a Google Business Profile listing pop up. And right here, you'll see where it says own this business, and you'll click on that. And there will be a modal pop-up that comes up, and it says something along the lines of, this account has been claimed by the email address x ... at blah blah.com. And so usually
Ida, we should mention that this is the best our office has ever looked. Look at those photos.
It's a very good point. I don't know if we still have that rug, but I do really like it. Yes, so you'll be able to identify with that snippet of email address whether or not that is your email address or not. And from there, we can figure out what we need to do next. So if that is your email address, then feel free to log in to your Google Business Profile. And if you notice that email address isn't yours, then there should be a button that says request access, and you can follow the steps to request access from the account holder. If your Google Business Profile is not listed, you can click Claim This Business and go through the process that way. Or alternatively, you can go to business.google.com/ad and enter your business name and address, select from the search results, and claim your profile that way. If you do have to request access from another account holder, the process does take about 3 days. Google Business Profile gives account holders 3 days to respond to the requests. And if you don't hear back, then you can follow the instructions on that confirmation email from the request to follow up the next steps to claim your profile. Once you're logged in, this is the fun part. You get to explore the platform. You'll see here, this is what it looks like from the Google SERP view when you are logged in. So you can read reviews, you can click through this card slider and look at any recommendations that you might have, respond to any Q&As, update any information, add any information, and we will get into all of those details here. Optimizing your Google Business Profile. So what we're looking at primarily is this relevance, credibility, usability, overall consistency. Does your Google Business Profile listing clearly paint the picture of who you are, both to humans and to Google's algorithm? If they were to click through to your website, would they be like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I'm expecting, and have like no surprises? This is really important because Google Business Profiles SEO, it works very similar to regular web SEO on, Google's search engine. It just has some slightly different algorithmic criteria. But ultimately, your goal is the same. We want to utilize, the different tactics that we have in order to boost your relevance, boost your credibility. And we can then attract new and returning customers. Instead of focusing on, the site content, metadata, all of the other ways that we would optimize your website for a regular search engine optimization, we're now looking at, as Alex mentioned, using, the tools and what's available to us, the paints and the canvas within the Google Business Profiles platform to help customers find you and choose you over your competitors. So we will look through your entire profile. Oh, Alex, did you have something?
No, I did. Yeah. I think it's really important to impress upon folks that previously when you were doing digital marketing, you wanted to be more focused on your web code and like what was going on with your website. Now, because Google is prizing this Google Business Profile and its other SERP functions more prominently, we need to be bifurcating our efforts. We need to be paying attention to Google Business Profiles. We need to be paying attention to Google Maps. It's more and more going to start showing maps listings and listings that are not your website than previous. This is going to be the new move that they're doing. Google likes to control the landscape of what is being presented in its search algorithm. And one of the ways they can do that is by putting their product forth more so than the general website of a given entity. They want Google Business Profiles, Google Maps, Google Listings to show up more prominently than that of an actual website because they can control it. And their stock and trade is selling ads for organizations to show up more prominently. So it's just becoming more and more potent that we focus on the applications that Google allows for our brands to have as in terms of visibility.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Ed, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, thank you. That was a really great point, Alex. How do we go back? And of course, where we look is through your entire profile. We'll get more into this as we go along. These are the essentials. So that first key element that we saw was profile completeness. As you go through and build out your profile, as you edit your profile, these will be the ones that we want to make sure are set in stone, looking really good. So one, your business name. Business name, again, if we're talking about business name across directory listings, like how are we presenting ourselves? Is this Intellitonic? Is this Intellitonic LLC? All of those things can make a difference when we're thinking about that consistency. Business category, we'll talk about that in a little bit. A description, which we'll also talk about. Contact information, social profiles could be a nice bonus. I would consider it essential just as another way to increase visibility and kind of give users a, how would I say, like more of a, gosh, like I want to say like a slice of life sort of like look at at your business, at your team. We also look at location and service area as well as business hours. Those are essential to make sure they are always up to date and consistent.
I'd say
Nice
one
bonus.
more thing, Ida, and I know this isn't in the essentials. It's probably in the stuff we're going to discuss here as slides go on later.
Mm.
How you respond to reviews and how you discuss your product in review responses and FAQs is very important. You can
Mhm.
only get so much context into the platform through Google by virtue of it giving you 20 little platform areas that you can put your keywords into. So anytime we're allowed to respond to an employee or a customer or a proper review, that's going to be very valuable for us to be able to apply keyword context to wherever we're allowed to. So FAQs, review responses are very, very important as well. And I'm sure you're going to cover that here soon.
Mhm. Yeah, super, yep, super important. Right now we're looking at like what we can edit, what we can control from the back end in terms of just our profile completeness. In the nice bonuses category, images, of course, are a huge nice bonus, as Alex indicated by our nice looking office. Opening date, any identity markers, if you are a woman-owned business, if you are an LGBTQIA plus owned business, if you are a BIPOC-owned business, those are great identity markers to put in. Any special hours, if you're having, you know, a Black Friday sale or anything like that, you can indicate special hours, any accessibility accommodations that you have in your building, any amenities, depending on your industry. And there's so many other features that you can choose to kind of like narrow in and really give users a accurate lens, an accurate view of who you are. Okay, we'll probably drive this one till the cows come home. But again, does the information on your Google My Business or your Google Business profile match the one on your website? Does your name, address, phone information, does it match the same information that can be found on Yelp, on Facebook, on all the other major citation resources? It is so important to ensure consistency in these areas. Name, address, phone number, what we call NAP information in SEO, your business category, which we'll talk about next, as well as services and products, and your hours of operation. Please pay close attention, make sure those are up to date. All right, for categories and services, you'll find that you can select one main category to for your business, and then you can also choose several subcategories. So depending on what kind of category you choose, Google will also give you certain features. For example, if you are a restaurant, then it will unlock like the menu feature on Google Business Profiles, where you can put in, you know, your entire menu, descriptions, prices, all of those things. Similarly with like hotels or within the beauty and wellness industry, there are different features that get unlocked. This is a really great way to gain leads. If you're a product-oriented business, then you can, you know, actually create product listings via Google Business Profiles, and you can, you know, you can get sales directly right there. So definitely they're constantly updating the list of categories. I believe that we have a link of like the categories for 2024 that we'll share with y'all. And yeah, it just provides so many opportunities. So take some time and explore all of the different categories and find the one that works best for you, as well as a couple other subcategories that you can choose to identify with. Alex, go ahead.
I'd just say with this, always err on the side of being open with the options that your business has to offer. So if you're a hotel and you have a spa, but it's not the most prominent portion of your business, you should still say you are a spa hotel. Like you want to not limit yourself with Google and give them the opportunity to pick and choose what you're going to show up for. Always go with the highest categorical option that you have available to you. And don't limit yourself based on well, we're only a spa 3 days a week. You know, there's only somebody there for that for 3 days. Like always go with the highest opportunity for yourself and open up the categories as prominently as you can. It's going to help quite a bit.
Definitely. Let's see. So we also want to talk about this 750 character from the business section. So this is your business description. This is your 750 characters to, shout to the internet who you are as a company. So this is an essential opportunity for you to incorporate service-related keywords, any keywords that y'all rank for on your website, any ones that you want to rank for. This is the place to do it. All right, let's talk about products and services. As I mentioned before, there are two, as I mentioned before, that you can create listings, product listings on your Google profile, Google Business Profile. There's two different ways to do it. So the first way is to add each item manually. And this is what we recommend, though it does take a bit more time. It's definitely worth the work because, again, with that space that you get for the description, that is where we want to implement more keyword targeting. So we can do that, as well as you can upload your own photo for each product. Another option is to connect your POS to get Google Business Profiles, and then it'll just automatically import all the data from your POS. For services, this one's kind of tricky, right? Because Google doesn't limit the amount of services that you can add. As Alex mentioned, it's important to give Google as much information as possible so that they can ensure that you're relevant to whatever the user search is. The trick here is to not add too many at once. So sometimes we'll see, like, if there's a heavy front loading of, review responses, updating your description, answering questions, all with a bunch of keywords in it, Google might flag that as spam. So we want to make sure that as we're doing any maintenance and any optimizations on our Google Business Profile, we're kind of doing it more consistently with a more light touch than to be going in every once in a while and kind of giving it a heavy hit. So now let's talk about additional industry options. So as I mentioned, for restaurants, there are options to create your entire menu within Google Business Profile, or you'll see this to GMB. Google My Business is also a sunsetted name for Google Business Profile. And then another place you want to display your menu is, of course, in your photos. An interesting thing about images on Google Business Profiles, there is an option for you to categorize your images within Google Business Profiles, and Google will reward you for that categorization. So another optimization we can be doing is even going through photos from other customers or users that had posted photos in the past, and you can go in and categorize it as exterior of building or interior of building or restrooms, things like that. That's just more information for users to have an understanding of what your facility is like, what your menu looks like, as well as for the robots to be able to organize things. Oops. All right. Additionally, Google Business Profile offers a space for you to add additional URLs for online orders or for booking reservations. There's a hyperlink in the slide deck to a Google My Business Help article that shows you how to do that. Similarly, you'll see that there is an option to add a booking button for people in the health and beauty industry. You can also add and update your service menu there. And if you are in the hotel industry, you can also add a feature where you're showing your class ratings, like different from your review rating. It will say underneath your listing, 4-star hotel, just in plain language there. So it's another sort of categorization that can help identify you. Yes, and then listing the amenities offered at the hotel is also an option. All right, so Alex touched base on this a little bit, but just to, again, find ways in which we can engage our audience all throughout the platform. So with images, images are proven to increase views, site visits, direction requests, and phone calls. Just having, gosh, I hate to like say the platitude or whatever that trope is, a picture's worth 1,000 words or something, but it definitely, it's proven to make a huge difference for engagement. Make sure, again, you tag your photos by category and add descriptive alt text. Like our product listings, like our description. This is a great opportunity to implement keyword targeting to narrow down to our target audience.
I want to mention too that just by virtue of adding an image, even if it's not the greatest image you've ever uploaded, it's going to show freshness, and it's going to imply to the search engine that you are a relevant resource who is updating your product, and you are valued, and you care about what you're doing. So just by virtue of adding something new, even if it's not the best photo you've ever taken, it's going to benefit your overall SEO because it's going to show that you are maintaining relevance. Google does look at freshness and relevance as a major category.
Thanks, Alex. Post updates. So there is a function within Google Business Profiles that works very, very similarly to social media. You can post updates, you can include images and links. We recommend keeping this channel in your rotation as you're disseminating organic content. Just as Alex mentioned, that sort of freshness, these regular post updates make a huge difference. Q&As. So having a ready-made Q&A to address frequently asked questions will help customers who are looking, for answers to that question. They'll just have it right there on your Google Business Profile. You can ask friends to post questions that you can answer, or you can also post the question and the answer. Again, keyword optimize that. Responding to reviews, reaching out to your warm network, maybe neighboring businesses to get those reviews. That is basically, if you were here last week, similar to the site authority via backlinks in regular SEO. This reviews and responses to reviews is definitely bolstering your authority within the Google Business Profile platform. And then again, adding social links, giving customers an opportunity to learn more about and engage with you. Alrighty, the last key element, which I think we've been, a broken record about already on this call, but keyword optimize everything. Here's a pretty good list of things that we can keyword optimize that we've previously discussed. That 750 character business description, product descriptions, answers to your Q&As, review responses, and any image alternative text. Again, key to improving your search engine ranking and attracting relevant traffic.
The name of the game is you're only given limited opportunity to appear for key phrases that you wish to. So anytime there's categorical question and answer, business description information that you can put key phrases that are valuable to your brand into, you take advantage of that. Anytime Google lets you fill something out, fill it out. Don't like make, I'll my hours of operation. Even you might even find a way in there to apply some sort of relevance for like the time that you're open for business. You have to give them everything. It's an automated system that uses an algorithm to determine who shows up prominently. Any input that you have is going to be valuable for you. So make use of it. Make sure that you're up to date. Make sure that your hours are up to date. Make sure that your days of operation are up to date. Make sure that every single categorical piece you have is filled out to the umpteenth amount that you can.
Thanks, Alex. All right, so let's talk about keyword enrichment a little bit. Habiba created this really beautiful worksheet. I'm excited for y'all to see. It'll come out with the recording. On how to mine your Google Business Profile for keywords. I created a little step-by-step here, and hopefully, in tandem with the worksheet, should be really intuitive to be able to actually grab keywords that people are searching on Google Business Profiles. So the first thing is to go to performance from your Google Business Profile homepage, select how people discovered you, and Google will output all of the search terms that people used that led to your business listing. You're going to copy and paste all of those search terms into a spreadsheet. Next, you will organize those keywords into 3 broad categories: who you are, what you do, and where you are located. And from there, your finalized keyword list can be disseminated across your Google business profile. We like to use the term sprinkles, right? We're talking about, not too much at once. So choose the keywords that you would like to rank for most. And then as you're going through responding to reviews, answering questions, utilize those keywords you selected in those responses. Worksheet is linked here as well as in the appendix. Cool. All right, I'm going to pass it back over to Alex. Here are 3 frequently asked questions on Google business profiles.
Yeah, let's kick to the next slide. That looks good. Thanks, Ida. So what if I don't have a physical location? This can be difficult, and we've actually dealt with this ourselves. We have an office in Brisbane, we have an office in LA, and we have an office here in Bellingham. And at various times, we've had or not had physical offices in the area. What I would suggest is no matter what, you always claim a geographical business, even if you don't provide a forward-facing office listing. Like you want to have your claiming in that area, even if you don't give the direct address that somebody can work within. It's just going to make you more prominent when folks are searching for services or categories that you provide. It can be difficult. Like I've had a lot of phone calls to my personal cell phone that I don't want to get, like by virtue of having my business been claimed to 103 East Holly Street and my phone number being the one that we had on there. But by and large, if you can provide the context and it's doable for you, you should be providing a forward-facing address. And if you can't, then you should at least be providing the service region. It's going to help you be more prominent in overall searching. Okay, the next one. If you have more than one physical location, you want to really detail into those profiles, the micro data that implies the difference between each location. Google starts to recognize neighborhoods even. So I live personally in the Fountain District of Bellingham. And Google actually understands where that is. Like they understand Guide, Meridian, Hagen. Like they know where I'm at when I'm searching for things. If you can get those micro data pieces hard coded into your profile, you should be claiming those locations, and you should be applying the eccentricity of the location within the profile. And you should be coaching your users to review you in such a capacity that they say, this was the greatest Fountain District marketing company that I worked with when they're able to write those reviews for you. So if you have more than one physical location, always claim them, especially if you can do business at those locations. That's very helpful. If you can't, then that might be a discussion point where you're like, well, that's just a virtual office, but you should still claim it and just not post the physical address. And this is another one, context-wise. What if my business category is not an option? And that does happen. Google is always getting better. Every month they add more and more categorical options for what you can be. Always go with the highest potential category that you can. Like if you're a nail salon and you're vying specifically on nails, but not feet. Like you're able to do fingernails, manicures, but not podiatry. That level. Always go with the highest potential search volume option, and there should be keyword research that you do that determines what category you pick. I would always opt for the categorical option that provides me with the most possible search volume. And I would pick that one, even if it's not an exact identifier for my business. And I would trust that Google is going to open that up and going to give me subcategories later on. What you can often do is then pick subcategories or like sub opportunities and add those in as the main modifiers for your business. But you definitely want to use the one that has the most search volume and it is the closest to your overall business potential at any given time. It's a tough call. Google is adding these categories often, so like you're going to open up. We struggle with this at Intellitonic, where we are an SEO agency, but Google recognizes us as a digital marketing agency, and we often don't show up as prominently as in the local level as we do national, because Google is categorically not that attuned to our local market yet. You get the next one. So what success is going to look like? Ida, am I stepping on your time here, or is this you or me? Okay, yeah. So when you're looking at this kind of stuff, when you're really optimizing for your Google local brand, the nice thing is it's not part of Google Analytics, which is what most web folks are attuned to looking at and discerning whether they've been successful. This is actually its own completely different category where we can get direct calls to action and proof of concept within the Google Business Profile. So when I do a report for a client where I prove that we've actually been effective in their local market, I can say empirically we generated 152 calls because I can see how many times the click to phone call was pressed. I can see how many times somebody came and clicked the button for click to instructions for this address. I can click and see how many times somebody meant and left a review. So reporting on this is very interesting. It's not the same as just website impressions or clicks or overall visibility metrics that you would look at when you're doing a website report. We can deliberately say this person came to your business because they found you on Google Business Profiles. Where that can get a little complex is when we're trying to do a combined report and we're looking at the website analytics and then also looking at Google Business Profiles because they are split separately. It's a thing where Google really makes it difficult for us. Like we have to jam those two things together and discern where we're at. But the nice thing for you folks who are like working in the local level, we can deliberately be like, there were 152 requests for directions for this location. There were 152 phone calls where they clicked the button to call you. It's really nice to see that. Where you can start to move the needle on that a little bit, you can start to do updates to the profile. You can start to do that Q&A content that Ida mentioned, where you as the business owner are allowed to post FAQ type content. What is your biggest product? And then respond to it. And that can actually help seed the account with key phrases that you wish to rank for. And that can be really nice. Like we can quantify when we do that work exactly how many clicks to phone call we got from that work that we did. We can see whether or not, if we did photos in a given week and we posted them, if we got an extra 4 or 5 phone calls to the business. So it's very trackable. It's a nice resource in that we can see what it nets for you. As opposed to your website, which can be hard at times. You know, it might be difficult to determine whether or not we made a blog post, we got 25 keyword rankings, and we got a sale. We can tell with Google Business Profiles that we got a phone call, we got an email, we got a click to register for a hotel that night. You can hit the next one. The deal with this is that it's consistently the way Google is moving. They are consistently showing that they want to provide users with the most relevant information for their personal journey. And that's a mixed blessing. It used to be in our websites, we could control all of that. If we wanted to be Bellingham Pizza, number one, like show up for that, we just needed to make sure that we said Bellingham Pizza all over the website. But Google is now giving users more content and intent to apply whether or not the person who's searching for Bellingham Pizza is looking for a delivery pie, or they're looking for a place that they can walk into. They are making our lives easier as users, which makes our lives a little bit more difficult as search engine marketers. But if we play within their infrastructure, we can predict what they're doing. We can play within that and we can work within it. So working within Google Business Profiles in addition to your website is increasingly more important. You have to play the way Google is moving, which is a pain. You know, they're playing a game of cat and mouse. They hate SEO. Google hates SEO. Google wants to sell its $43 billion a year in keyword assessments and purchases. They don't want people to get free traffic from it. So we use our platforms to play within their system and get what we can for free, while at the same time simultaneously buying through their platform. I think you can hit the next one. What can you do? So this is important. Fill out everything. You can respond. You can be engaged. You need to actually treat Google Business Profile itself as a living entity, the same way you treat your website. People don't know that. They don't know that 30% of their web traffic is actually taking place at the Google Maps listing now. They don't pay attention to it. More so than your Facebook page, more so than your Instagram page. Website traffic is going to your Google Business and your Google Maps profile. You need to be aware of it. You need to make sure that it's being cared for and cultivated. Because if you don't, you're going to lose that 10% of traffic that is consistently going to Google Maps and Google Business Profiles. You need to review your address. You need to make sure your hours of operation are open. During the pandemic, I think many of you probably dealt with this, where you tried to order from a restaurant and they were closed and you were frustrated. You're like, I'm not going to buy from there anymore. Imagine that tenfold. That happens all the time. You have to pay attention to your Google Business Profile, and not even just the Google Business Profile, your Yelp, your Bing listing. You have to pay attention to all of this because it's all within the same lexicon and all within the same infrastructure that the details who's going to show up prominently for a localized search. We want you to be putting yourself forward in a healthy capacity that gives you the most prominence in localized search. And one way to do that is with Yelp, Google Business, and Bing. So to move forward, how do we do that? Get reviews. And don't just get reviews from clients who are going to respond to your review in such a capacity that they talk about the services that were provided. You don't just want to get like a 5-star review. You want somebody to say, this was the best pizza I've ever had in the Fountain District of Bellingham, Washington. It was incredible. I really loved the mushrooms. I felt like the chicken was cooked to the exact amount of capacity. And then you as the brand can respond to that and say, we were so happy to take your family into our restaurant here in downtown Bellingham in the Fountain District. It was great for us to treat you to a pizza in that area. Use key phrasing. Respond back in kind. Talk about the context. Talk about what neighborhood you were in. Make sure your services and categories are updated. You use these things. Use every opportunity that you're given because you're only given so many. Make use of that. Add photos, even though it's boring to add photos of like a team serving some food, or even a team in our capacity sitting in an office, like sitting around a computer. It's beneficial for us to do that because it shows A, there are real human beings who work at this office, and B, it helps our user want to connect with us. And then finally, C, it shows that we're an active business. Google's going to give us more prominence if they see that Ida is at my office downtown in Bellingham. Even if the end user doesn't care that Ida is downtown in Bellingham, Google's going to, and they're going to see that we are relevant and we are useful and we are still working. So we want to do anything we can to cue relevance.
Yep, I think we talked about this one too. Cool. Reaching out to your warm network. Yes, customers, of course, this also includes vendors, service providers, collaborators, event co-sponsors, neighboring businesses. As Habiba had mentioned last week in regards to backlink acquisition, it's important to establish a goal. This isn't the most glamorous work, right? So if we're looking out maybe 6 months, how many new reviews can you acquire by September? And also, like we're seeing in the chat a little bit here too, like what are some creative ways that we can incorporate these asks into our existing workflow? And then from next week on, that continual zhuzhing. So again, create content, post updates, respond to any reviews, answer any questions, use that worksheet that helps you mine your Google Business Profile for keywords, organize them, deploy them. But of course, remember that this is overall, again, that light touch ongoing effort. And parting words, just make sure you sound like a human. So Google's algorithm, doesn't try and track you down as spam. But I think that we're all good on that one since we're all human.
I'd say one more thing there, Ida, too. Folks who are on this call, community is important. Interlink your websites together. If you can write a review of another business that is not a direct competitor who you're not like, you're not at each other's throats, and you can communicate with each other. I see Third Planet's on here and Cough is on here. If you can interlink with each other, that's going to boost both of your presences. You need to be using that. That's something that bigger chain establishments don't make use of. They often end up operating in their own world and they don't interlink their properties. But folks who are local businesses can interlink with each other and boost each other's prominence, especially when they're not directly competitive. It's very powerful. One of the biggest components of Google is not just the content of the website, it's who's linking to your website. And you have the capacity as folks in an individual business like this in a community to work with each other. So I would highly advise you do that. It's agencies like us spend months trying to get links for our clients from other respectable businesses. But if you can do that together in a collective capacity, it's going to be very potent for all of you.
Awesome. Well, that's all the content we have to share with y'all today. So we can open up for Q&A. I do see one question in the chat from Allison.
Allison, yeah, and we've talked before. Where you get value from buying a domain is when the domain that you've purchased has other backlinks to it already, or it itself has had keyword rankings. So just buying bellinghamcoffee.com might not be valuable if you're a coffee resource unless that domain itself has been valued previously. You want to do the due diligence to verify whether or not those domains have actually had some sort of equity before. And Allison, that'd be something I'd really happy to connect with you on. Jenny says, don't forget to make sure your downtown business is, yeah. So always interlink with the entities like Downtown Business Partnership, Bellingham Tourism, the Chamber of Commerce. Take those resources, even if they're a couple of $100 for the cost to be part of them. It's always valuable because the $100 to $200 that you pay for a lot of these communities is far outweighed by the digital value you get from them, and you just didn't know that before you bought them. Yep, and thanks, Jenny. He says we're free.
Awesome. I see a question from Third Planet Boutique. Our Google business description is wrong and I want update. How do we change it?
Let's look at that together.
Can I just clarify on it? We can change the about, but the automatic one that shows up under us still says that we sell glass pipes, which we have not for a year and a half.
For years, yeah.
I don't know how to change this.
That can be a pain. Google is always going to choose what they find to be valuable for you. But what I would advise doing in that situation is creating a Google Ads account, even if you're not going to buy Google Ads, and communicate with them through the business side of it. When you work through the Google Ads account side of things, you tend to get faster responses versus like if you're trying to do a Google business profile thing. Even if you don't buy a single ad, when you get through that lexicon, they want to serve you because that's where they make all of their money. And that's something that we could help you make that communication for.
Okay, from Veritas Media, a question. What place do you see video playing in today's Google business profile?
That's good. And I know Veritas, I know these guys. It is more and more prominent every day. Google is getting better at how they discern the quality of video and what video is doing. Historically, it's been difficult for Google to surmise what the content of a video is. So you need to make sure that when you're uploading video content that you're doing alt text and you are providing like a summary of what the video content is. That's very important. So you can get both the video credit and then the text-based credit for it. There are 2 or 3 things that you can do with that. Google's going to get better to the point where they're going to start ascertaining what is being said in the video itself and extrapolating that and pulling it out, but they're not there yet. So you need to be doing captions, image text, and summaries of the video content. And a lot of folks who do really good video content like Veritas, they are doing a really good job of getting the content portion of the video up there for their clients and the people that they work with. But we also need to have a secondary component of it where we shop that content and make sure that people are linking back to it. And that's something that I would love to talk to Josh about. Thanks.
Awesome. We're seeing Roxana ask, does a category affect your ad performance? For example, my ads are being limited for healthcare reasons, so I'm trying to see how to fix that issue.
That can be difficult. Google does have very specific permutations as to what it allows for HIPAA and health type stuff. Roxana, I'd like you to message me directly what you're trying to do and what your business is about, and I'd like to address that directly. So let's look at that together. Thank you.
Great. We have time. If anyone has any more questions.
This is my favorite part, guys. Bring them on. Well, cool. I think we've
Got
it all the way
one
through.
more question here for you,
Oh yeah,
Alex.
please. Yep.
So, for video in the business listings themselves, is that just done through the photo portal where you go to upload a photo and you upload a video and you're able to attach the sidecar file or transcripts or SRT
Mm,
files, or
mm.
what's the best practice there from
Yeah, again, it's a nuanced thing because you're gonna have to look at design and make sure you don't like just you don't want to be spammy. Apart, I'm gonna level with all of you. I'm an SEO, so I'm often spammy. Like I want to put more text on there than is probably advisable. If I were uploading video content for Intellitonic, which we've done video ads, I'm typically going to do a full transcript of what happens in that video, and I'm going to do it text-based, and I'm going to post that along with a video alt image to text, the video description, and then I'm going to give a full description of what is happening in there because I want that text-heavy content on my web page. So that's like the most optimal way to do it. If you do that at scale, like hundreds of times, because you're a video production agency, you might actually get Google anti-spam penalties against you. So you have to be very careful to not like overzealously spam text content. So again, that would be something that I would want to discuss with somebody individually to see what they were doing. You can't go wrong with alt image text and a closed captions type description of the content. You're not going to get penalized for that, for what it's worth.
Hey, I had one more question I posted.
Mhm.
I was just curious, you said you were gonna post a list of the 2024 Google business categories, is that right? Because
Yeah, we can pull that off.
I've really
Let's take a look at
struggled
that. Yeah.
to find a relevant category for my business. I have us listed as a natural goods store, but I don't think that does me any favors necessarily. It doesn't really speak to what we do.
This is Leah, right?
Yes.
Feel free to email alex@intellitonic.com.
Okay.
It's not gonna be a big sales pitch. Like we make, I think we may have covered this on an earlier call, but Intellitonic, most of our business now is kind of eclipsed the local realm. We do these types of things because we really want to stay true to our market, but we're mostly working with national businesses. So I would love to do like a free consult for you to help you out.
That would be awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. I'll email you.
Cool.
I'm
Thank
going
you.
to jump in really quick. Speaking of that, this local SEO, like part of the reason why we're so excited to have done this training is the better that local businesses get at their Google business profiles and at their SEO, it boosts up everybody and it really boosts up the neighborhood. So we are really grateful to have a ton of local businesses on this call because it really makes a difference when everybody in the neighborhood has put effort into it. It just boosts everybody up.
And to that, Natalie, like again, I really do mean this when I say it. Please, anybody on this call, message us. Intellitonic is willing to listen and talk to you about your problems. Like whether or not you end up being a client and we make some money off of you, I don't care. I came back to Bellingham and founded this business here in this area because Whatcom County is important to us. So we want this to work. We want people to come off of the I-5 corridor and stop and get a coffee and maybe get a beer somewhere and not just go to the La Quinta Inn. You know, like I want them here in this economy working with these people. It's important for us to have folks stop off the I-5 corridor and be part of this community. So we would love to work with you. Again, no charge. Just ping me, alex@intellitonic.com.
We have time for more questions if you want to unmute or if you want to send it in the chat. I can also create any breakout rooms if that would help to like discuss anything in smaller groups. We have about a half an hour left of our time, so I want to make it useful for everybody for whatever would be the best.
Hi, Natalie, this is Allison. So, I've been using AI quite a bit. And I asked AI to write a 750 word Google profile, and it was awful.
Yep.
Google Gemini was not good. But is there any experience with some of the other AI tools that could help, like sort of provide a framework to
I'll tell you,
check what we currently have with maybe some really good stuff?
this is relevant, Allison. So the 5th, March 5th, Google put forth a core update, and it is heavily persecuting scaled AI generated content. So if you have like one piece that you did that was AI generated, you're probably not going to be in any trouble. But if your entire website was generated by AI content, Google is hunting for it. They put forth that they want to reduce their indexation of scaled AI generated content by 40%. They're going after ChatGPT specifically. So if you, my advice, and we use this in our pre-sale process, is I will look up a business that I don't particularly know their model that well, and I'll ask ChatGPT, tell me a little bit about the KPIs for this given business. And I'll use that and I'll use that to frame my proposal, but it's never something that goes on a client website. We don't ever post any content that has been AI generated on client websites explicitly because I knew Google was going to start doing this. They are heavily attacking AI scaled content. So don't use it sparingly. Use it as the top of the food pyramid, like the sweets section. Don't make it the grains, don't make it the meat and the potatoes. You can do a couple pieces every now and then, but you should use a human to interact with the content and verify that it is more human generated than if you were just to copy and paste it.
Yeah, that's been my assessment. I use it for research and it's better for that, but for
Same.
writing and
it helps. It's smart. It's smart stuff. It is helpful, but you don't want that to be the overall categorical content that you put on your website.
Yeah.
That can't be the hardest one. Come on, somebody. You got to have something.
There's so much, that's why.
Yeah. All right. Well, Natalie, I'm gonna go grab a glass of water. If there's nothing else.
Well, thank you everybody so much for joining us. In closing, we have another seminar in 2 weeks that will be at the Blue Room. Same time, we'll have Zoom availability at that one as well if you haven't signed up. And for those who aren't already involved with the Downtown Bellingham Partnership, we really encourage you to do so. We have lots of ways to promote what you're doing and lots of resources for downtown businesses. So get in touch if you haven't. And we look forward to continuing working with you. Allison, did you have a last note?
Well, we do have a little bit more time, so I'm not sure if you're going to touch on Yoast or some of the things. I spend a ton of time trying to get Yoast to give me 2 green smileys.
Right. Don't waste time with Yoast.
Oh my gosh. And I sometimes wonder if it's even worth it.
No, but... you're a human and you can write better than that system can. Use it as a guideline. Its markers are helpful. They're helpful to show you that you've put the right key phrase in a particular page, but I would not spend more than 10 minutes chasing it down. What you should be doing is using your own human intuition to look at what a page should be ranking for and applying that at the URL level. I spent a lot of time chasing down Yoast rankings, and it's not efficient. It's not worth it. You're a human. You are smarter than Yoast is. Use what you think you're and again, I know you, Allison. I know your business. It's not going to be something where you're getting 50,000 searches a month. People who are looking for the sustainability stuff that you're going to be help with, and what you're going to do. It's going to be 15 searches a month. So you need to write that yourself.
That's what I've been doing. And then what I've been doing is taking some key posts and turning them into cornerstone content. And then I spend time on it.
If you can get 2 to 3 sales a month with your business model on online, you're in a good position. It's not something that's going to be, and that goes for us. My agency, most of my sales are referral based. I don't make search volume. Intellitonic doesn't get 1,000 searches a month, even though we're an SEO agency. We get 2 to 3 sales a month from our website. When I'm happy with that, because that's for us, $36,000, $50,000 a year. So yeah, we're in a different world than people who are selling Hershey's bars,
The other thing, and since there aren't any questions, I'll ask this because I know other people probably have dealt with it, but we realized that there was a glitch in our the referral to our hello@peaksustainability.com email. I would just urge everybody, go in and check that periodically to
Yeah.
make sure things are getting to you. You know, if you're doing like an info ad or something like that, and we had a form and the form had a little problem in it. And so we were kind of down on the website, like it wasn't working, but
Our
it
most boring
wasn't.
product that we do that my employees hate me for is we do a what we call a secret shopping audit, where we go through every client website and we verify that the Google Analytics is firing. We verify that somebody is responding within 24 hours to the contact form, that the phone calls are working. And it is the most boring, asinine work you can possibly do, but it's so important. You have to, even that basic stuff you have to do just for SEO value. Because if a user's coming there and they're leaving the website, Google doesn't know why they left. They don't know that it was because the phone number didn't work, and they're going to degrade your SEO value because the person didn't make a conversion. So even that stuff is like something that we pay attention to.
Yeah.
Andrea has a question from MW Soapworks.
So because there's time, I was wondering if you could talk at all about transferring a previous Google Analytics account to Google Analytics 4 property, I guess is what they're calling it now. I
GA4,
was just kind of like casually working on things while you were presenting, so thank you for being here. And then I got here and I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Cool.
We're in the same boat. That's a tough one for me. In a previous life, I was the analytics manager for Chicago Tribune and LA Times. So that's all I focused on. This last 2 or 3 years, it's changed dramatically. I have 2 people on my team now, Wes and Jared, who handle a lot of that stuff. And I would like to bridge that question to them. What I have noticed personally is that there's more potential customization in GA4, where you can actually get detailed information that you weren't able to get previously from normal Google Analytics, but you have to set up the setup portion of it. So you're going to lose some sort of basic functionality the second you switch over, but you're able to, with time and implementation, make that valuable for you in the long run if you set up the account properly. But it does take some extra work. And again, that's not one that I've done for the last 3 years. I'm going to be blunt. I don't do that anymore. So I do have people who can help with that, and they would be very happy to give you some basic primers.
That would be great. I haven't touched this tool in years, and I just was like, okay, cool. It's telling me to connect this, and then it is all different. It is
dramatically different, to the point where I have been frustrated and almost knocked my monitor off my table before. So
yeah. I love setting up tools that just stay the same.
No,
or like evolve and take you with them.
Let connect with me and Ida, and let's see if Wes and Jared can help.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Alex, there's a question in the chat from Roxana.
Okay. She says, I've never thought of putting keywords in my review responses. It is odd. Is it odd to go back? No, it is not. Roxana, you should go back and respond to those past reviews. And respond to them. So Roxana asked, should I go back in time basically and respond to Google reviews? I would absolutely say yes. I would reply back, I was so happy to work with you on your project. Templated, here is the county that we worked in. Here's the key phrase of what I did with you. Where you have to be a little bit careful with this is if you're a hospital specifically, I didn't see, okay, Roxana says she's prenatal 3D ultrasound. You might be a little bit more hamstrung because you are in the medical world. So you have to be careful about HIPAA violations and not replying back to the user based on what your service was as it pertains to their health. But if you could, and you weren't traipsing across HIPAA, I would absolutely reply back. I was so happy to help you with your prenatal review, yada, yada, yada. Do that at any time you can. Anytime you can apply keyword context to your Google business profile, it's going to help you. Google reviews are a big one. And then the other big one that we mentioned before was Q&A. So you can write Q&A questions that are actually not HIPAA issues, where you ask frequently asked questions on your Google profile and then respond to them yourself. So maybe for you, being quasi-medical, you might focus on FAQ type Q&A questions rather than review responses. But if you can do Q&A responses, then absolutely do it.
There's a part of this question that I wanted to bring up. which is going back and editing responses that you've already done. If you're able to do that, is there any harm in editing what you've already written to include more keywords?
This is where we get into PR a little bit more, which there are PR companies in Bellingham who can help you with that type of answer. Remember, I'm an SEO spammer. my job is to make sure that clients get their best foot forward for overall SEO value. I'm always going to say, take the shot, go forward, make the change, edit the comment, make it a little bit more keyword sustainable. But if you talk to your PR company, like they might be like, you know what, that review was like a milquetoast one where they were like a 4 out of 5. Maybe leave that alone. I'm not going to answer that. I would respond to everything and add more keyword density to it every time. Even a 3-star review, I'm going to reply to it and try and get my keyword density out of it. So that's something where I would leave it in the hands of your public relations company. That's a good question, by the way.
Do we have any final questions? Thank you, everybody, for these thoughtful questions. By the way, this has been a great conversation.
I just appreciate that everybody was able to deal with me for this long.
You have a wealth of knowledge to share.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay,
and for anybody else too, send them over. You know, like we've got a team of 15. We're local. It's not a big deal for us to reply.
I'll include your contact information and this next follow-up email with everybody. I'll be sending out the recording that has everything along with the slide deck. If you didn't receive the slide deck from the previous seminar that has the link to the list of directories that was suggested, let me know and I can send it to you again. The link to that recording is also up on our YouTube channel. So let me know if you want that link again and I can send it your way. Otherwise, make sure to register for the upcoming seminar in 2 weeks. And we look forward to continuing to work together on this.
Hey, thanks so much. I look forward to meeting you all in person. I'll be at the next one.
Awesome. Alrighty. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a nice evening.